Hi, welcome back. Today I want to just do a follow-up video of my Hyperland setup thus far. I have been learning more and more regarding the CSS stuff for theming, as you can see up here in my Waybar configuration. I still only have one desktop per monitor. So desktop or workspace 2 is on monitor 2. Still trying to work that out. If anyone in the comments knows, my monitors do show up as DisplayPort or DP1 for the monitor you can see in the recording, and DP2 on my second monitor. If anyone has experience configuring, specifying workspaces per monitor, because I'd like to do 4 workspaces per monitor is what I would like to do. But you see this is the Bluetooth. It's currently showing disabled. I did not enable any stuff on here to just fix that from clicking up here. I do have to open settings using the KDE Plasma settings that I have installed. However, the audio, I can bring up Pavu control, and the Wi-Fi, it's already signed in because of my KDE Plasma install. I did go through, figure out how to get AM and PM for a 12-hour clock instead of a 24-hour military time kind of clock. One thing I did do is my Wofi configuration, I did pull in another person's config and I did alter it just a little bit. So this is how Wofi shows up for bringing up everything. As you can see, I got DaVinci Resolve and I've got Reaper installed. So it is very, very good. And everything runs really well. And something I actually want to show. When I run Reaper under KDE Plasma, I have to go in and edit a config file. I'm still using the evaluation one. I have to edit a config file to get it to actually look correct. So, and that whole thing with it showing up like that, don't much care for that. I'd rather it just be centered the way I want it. But my fonts for the text look good. Everything on here, and this I believe is because of GTK. But, you know, it looks the way it should. So I actually have switched to just using Reaper under here because I did have a breakage on my system with Arch because I did have some custom Hyprland stuff installed. And then upon doing a system update, the system just refused to update even just base Arch packages without trying to even update the AUR, because one of the issues is the standard Arch packages were newer packages than the Arch user repository. So I did do fresh install of Arch. It was actually my first time using the Arch install script. I actually kind of liked how it worked. It was fairly simple. I set up KDE Plasma and then went in and did my installation of Hyprland. I did back up all my dot files, however, though. So my base config file for Hyprland was still intact. And one thing I did do, let me show you here. I'm just going to CD into config, and I'll go Hyper. So we'll go in there, and as you can see, I have a little bit of a kitty theme going on. I did adjust that a little bit. I believe it's using the Mocha kind of type of thing. But if I go in Vim, and I'll just open the Hyprland comp, Hyprland conf, I did install the NVIM Kickstarter and enabled a few different things just so I can have basic functionality like tree sitter and a few other things. I have not used NVIM in probably, gosh, 6 years or more. So when I first was learning NVIM, you still used your Vim configs for it, but now you can configure everything using Lua. So this is something I do like, and here's my monitor setup. I have this set so I get a 1.6 scaling for both monitors. However, I have a 2x scaling for GTK applications. And as you can see, I have HyperPanel commented out. I do have this Blue Man applet, but I probably need to allow it to be visible up on the screen because it is running. You got the X cursor and my scaling, and I know that's further down, but I did add these here for the GDK scale too. X cursor size 32, which fixed a lot of issues with GTK applications. So I'm actually going to get out of here. I'll close that. And I do have my way bar installed. I've actually got this wallpaper in here because I've been playing some Path of Exile 2, but I've been uploading Planet Crafter videos on the channel, and all but one of those videos was done under Hyprland. And one of them was because when I did my fresh install of Arch after stuff broke, I needed to get a video out because I'm trying to be more consistent. So I went ahead and just recorded a video under Plasma and got that one going. But then I got my Hyprland config back, and glad I have the AM PM stuff. But anybody out there, that's more knowledgeable of Hyprland, I did like the way HyperPanel was functioning with a graphical interface for configuring it. But something I noticed when I configured it, it only applied it on my second monitor. It did not apply it on my primary monitor at all. So that is one thing that I noticed. But so far, Hyprland, I'm really liking it. And, it just, I still use my GUI applications, so I have the Dolphin file manager. But so far, I really am liking this so far. And I do use Batchtop to occasionally look at stuff. From what I'm seeing, I'm not saving any system RAM by using Hyprland over KDE Plasma at all. It's literally pretty much the same usage. This 7.39 gig. If Chrome is open and running for a while, this will go up to 10 gig very quickly. I do plan on bumping this system to 64 gig of RAM. And maybe someone out there can help me with a decision. Maybe comment below your thoughts. I do have, obviously, my AMD Radeon GPU. So, as you can see, it is the 7900 GRE. Which, even though it does work with DaVinci Resolve with the ROCm drivers, I am thinking about potentially next year, maybe January, February, depending on when the card actually comes out, possibly getting an RX, or not an RX, but an RTX 5070 Ti, because I want to maintain the 16 gig of RAM on the video card. And from what I can tell, the only other card that's going to have 16 gig RAM in the 50 series from NVIDIA, There's going to be a 5060 version that has 16 gig RAM. It might be a TI version. Other than that, the 5080, but I'm not willing to spend the insane prices that NVIDIA does. I honestly wish we could get some form of VA API decoding capability in DaVinci Resolve, like a plugin or something, because even this video recorded, DaVinci Resolve is going to handle it fine. I'm capturing 4K 60 frames a second with a CQP of 18, constant quality rate. Well, yeah, constant quality rate of 18, because when I was using constant bit rate, DaVinci Resolve was just falling apart trying to play it back, especially the Planet Crafter stuff, because I want to have a really crisp picture quality for my gameplay videos. So constant quality rate seems to help with that, but then I end up with like over 100 megabit a second bit rate, which for some reason DaVinci Resolve handles better than when I was capturing at a 24,000 kilobyte constant bit rate. I don't know what's making that happen, but temporarily my fix right now is to have DaVinci Resolve create proxy clips in DNX HR standard quality at half the resolution for the proxy, so I can get through the edit and then switch it back to prefer original file for when I render it out. But that's just something I'm looking into. It's if I don't go with a 5070 Ti for the 16 gig RAM to get GPU decoding in DaVinci Resolve on Linux, because you don't have GPU decoding at all in DaVinci Resolve under Linux unless you're using an NVIDIA GPU. Now, I've tested this. I went ahead and booted into Windows because I had to go in and shut off Recall that got installed. When I went ahead and did a let Windows update after 6 months of not booting into it, found that Recall was installed and it was enabled, and I went in and disabled it. Probably going to show video of that. It's probably going to be like a 3-minute video on how to disable Recall in the new update to Windows 11. But, my hope for going to an NVIDIA card is so I can record at extremely high quality for recording. Live stream using AV1, which I can already do on the AMD card. I can live stream with AV1. But with recording at really high bit rates to get really crisp, clean video, I kind of, in order to completely dump Windows, which is my goal for 2025, I don't want Windows on my system at all. I want to probably go to an NVIDIA card, even though I did temporarily have a 4070 Ti Super, which obviously under ray tracing was faster than this AMD card. But under no ray tracing scenarios, the AMD card was faster. And honestly, that 4070 Ti Super was gigantic. That dang card was massive. Had to install a bracket to an anti-sag bracket in the case just so the card wouldn't sag. It was monstrous. It was a PNY card though. So, and just anybody out there that is into NVIDIA GPUs, I would keep an eye out on the PNYs, because anybody that knows regarding the guy Kingpin that does all the overclocking stuff, he is actually working with PNY, so I would not be surprised if PNY releases a Kingpin video card. But If I don't go with a 5070 Ti, I'll probably end up going with a 4080. Just find one in stock, at my local micro center, maybe even an open box or something, because I don't want to go below 16 gig of VRAM anymore. And that's also because of my Lumix S5 II camera. The open gate video consumes like 14 gigabyte of VRAM during video editing. So I currently don't use the open gate video mode on that camera because of that. But that is something I do want to get into, because I was going to try to do an interview with the founder of System 76. And I'd like to set up a multi-camera setup with two S5 II cameras to do an interview with him. Have not reached out to them yet, but I would like to do some interviews with some people in open source. And System 76 is one that I can actually do on site in person, since they're local to me. So, but let me know what you think. If you've got knowledge of Hyprland, feel free to put it down in the comments. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, what I can fix, because I really do like this, but I'm definitely going to keep KDE Plasma installed on the system no matter what, just as a fallback. But like, subscribe, comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.